It's the story that everyone in America has been talking about. It's the case of Trayvon Martin, the Florida teen who was gunned down by a volunteer neighborhood watchman. The case has polarized America and has many people thinking about gun laws in their own states. To answer your questions this morning about the law, Attorney David Aylor, a very serious Trial Tuesday that we've got this morning. Thanks for being with us, David.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so first and foremost, a lot of people now they're questioning, I have a weapon in my home. What can I do and what can't I do? So I think the best way we'll do it is we'll start off with the viewer question and you can answer it accordingly. So the first question is, please explain castle doctrine. I want to protect my family, but after everything I've been seeing, I'm worried what I think is okay just isn't. And that's Johnny from Charleston. We really do appreciate your question. And he's got a great question there.
It is a great question. It's actually something that we've seen here a lot in South Carolina, actually the LowCountry related to the castle doctrine. Yeah. And that basically is that you can protect yourself or your family or anyone staying in your home, you know, if you do have intruders that come in to your house or your property. Even it goes as far as to looks like your vehicles. We had that incident recently in James Island about a year ago where a person shot at someone who was you know, breaking into their vehicle. And the reason that you relate the castle doctrine to this situation is basically the stand your ground law, and is what is in reference in Florida, is, you know, that you don't have the duty to retreat, similar to in the castle doctrine. For instance, if someone tries to break in your home, you don't have to run out of your home and try to flee the area. Right. You can stand your ground, per se, at your house and protect yourself and your loved ones. In the, you know, one-on-one scenario, like with what happened with Trayvon Martin, the law that they used was, you know, stand your ground, meaning you don't have to retreat when there's an attacker coming at you. You can try to defend yourself, including up to deadly force. And so that's where, you know, sort of the issue lies in that tragedy, is to whether or not that person should have been able to do that. Obviously, there's a lot of people saying a lot of different things, but in reality, the investigation, I think, will, you know, turn out a lot.
Yeah, just bringing it locally. I mean, that exact same thing happened about a month ago in Latson. Overnight, someone says that the guy knocked on his window, he tried to get in his car, and he shot him. Shot him dead, but at the same time, that's the castle doctrine as well. Right,
exactly, in the car. And that was a different one, too, because he was actually in the vehicle. So that's something, you know, we hadn't really seen around here, and I think it just shows you how strong, at least in our state, they look at the castle doctrine to protect yourself and also your property.
Okay, how much is considered your property and your castle? Someone would say if they're on your doorstep, if they're on your front lawn. I mean, how far is close enough?
Well, you know, ultimately, if they're in your property or approaching your property, I think within reason you're able to protect yourself, because, I mean, how far are you supposed to let them come before you know, stop?
Very true, very true. And especially for women out there, we had another question from another lady, but we won't get into it because these gun laws in South Carolina can get convoluted at times. What do you suggest someone does, David, if they're just not sure?
Well, then you don't need to have a gun if you don't know the gun laws in your own state.
There you go. There you go. That's for sure. And also I wanted to ask, and I know a lot of you might be wondering out there, different states have different laws when it comes to owning and carrying a gun. What should you do before you try to get a weapon? Should you just maybe go to your lawyer? Should you, go to a gun shop? What should you do?
Well, gun shops always have all the information related to that state and maybe some of the neighboring states. Yeah. But particularly the problem that you run into is exactly what you just said. Different states have different laws. I know within my own practice, I have a number of clients I've had in the past and presently that, you know, will get charged with, you know, carrying a gun in the wrong place within their vehicle here in South Carolina. They say, hey, I'm from this other state, the law there is this. Well, you know, ignorance of the law is no excuse. You still get arrested for it. So if you're going to travel out of state with your weapon, you need to make sure you know where you're traveling and know what the laws are. You know, on a much smaller scale, just like you need to know if you're allowed to use a cell phone when you go into another state.
There you go. All right, well, David Aylor, thank you so very much for being with us this morning. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, keep your questions coming. All you have to do is go to abcnews4.com, click on the LowCountry Live tab on the right-hand side of your screen, and you'll find Trial Tuesdays right there. You can submit your questions, or you can even email them to us at lowcountrylive@abcnews4.com. All right, well, we're back with more LowCountry Live coming up. Stay with us.